Episode 2 The Shadow Prince. While drums echoed through the hills and peace bloomed in trade, a second-born prince sat in silence. Listening, watching, and planning a fire the world would not forget. In the shadow of a king's glory he hungers, not for peace but for fire. Tonight, the spider weaves his web.
Matakai was not born with a crown in his hand, but from the moment he took his first breath, he believed he deserved one. Where Zuberi had been hailed as the heir, the sun that rose over Kindara, Matakai had been the shadow that followed. A child of a lesser queen, he was taught to bow, taught to obey, taught that his only worth lay in loyalty. But some hearts do not learn loyalty. They simmer. He studied his brother from the margins, watched how Zuberi charmed the council, how he tamed the warring provinces with wisdom and gifts, how he spoke with conviction, how he loved with restraint. Matakai hated him for it, not because Zuberi was cruel, but because he was adored. "What has he done?" Matakai once asked a mirror in the dark, "that I could not have done better?" But he never spoke his envy aloud. He smiled at ceremonies, led processions in his brother's name, and offered his blade in the war against the North. He was a good prince, a quiet one, too quiet. In the years following the blood oath, Zuberi ruled with peace in his heart, but Matakai roamed the borders. There, far from the polished halls of Kindara's capital, the whispers came to him like wind through a cracked door. Whispers of the Firestones. They had been buried beneath Voruba's mountains for centuries, gems that shimmered with an inner heat, said to pulse like a heartbeat. Legends said that the stones were tears of the sky gods, dropped when they turned their faces from humanity. Others claimed they were the bones of ancient dragons. Whatever the truth, they were valuable, more valuable than gold, more coveted than silver. Voruba had found them, quietly, carefully, but Matakai knew. He always knew. And when he rode back to Kindara's palace, his mind was not filled with wonder. It was filled with ambition. If Zuberi were truly wise, he murmured to his closest advisor, he would demand tribute. Those stones belong to the land, our land. That treaty, that oath, it binds fools, not kings. But Zuberi was no fool. When the news of the Firestones reached him through trade emissaries and song peddlers, he hesitated. He sent friendly envoys to Kamanu, offering mutual excavation, scholarly cooperation, even marriage ties. Kamanu responded with poetry and delay. Zuberi, cautious as always, waited. But Matakai did not. He moved like a spider, building webs in silence. He summoned men who had once served the northern invaders, offering them gold and sanctuary. He wrote letters in ink mixed with ash, sealing them in scrolls that bore the stamp of distant kingdoms, hostile ones. He fed Kindara's enemies on the sly. He sent maps, he sowed lies, and he made a promise. "Give me Voruba," he told a chieftain of the broken northern tribes. "Give me the Firestones, and I will give you Zuberi's head." He met in underground chambers with nobles who had grown weary of peace, men who profited from war, who missed the days when Kindara's banners flew over fallen cities. They were easy to sway. All he had to do was stoke old fires. "Peace has made us soft," he told them. "Voruba fattens itself while we bow at their borders. That is not alliance. That is slow surrender." The council never heard these words, but they began to feel them. They began to question Zuberi's patience, and Matakai ensured those doubts spread like infection. Then came the final act of betrayal. He bribed a Voruban captain, a distant cousin of Kamanu, shamed in a scandal, exiled from court. The man knew the palace's layout, its guards, its secret tunnels. Matekai gave him a new name, a small fortune, and a single command: open the gates. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. On the eve of the Moonless Festival, a night when torches were snuffed and the stars celebrated in darkness, Kindara's armies marched, not under Zuberi's banner, but under a falsified one, not in broad daylight, but in the hush of false peace. And so, as Zuberi dined with foreign diplomats under the moonless sky, his armies crossed the border without a word. Matekai watched the fires rise from his tower, the flames of Voruba flickering in the distance. He sipped palm wine from an ivory cup and whispered, "Let the oath rot, let Kindara rise."
In silence, Matekai moved, and as the world danced, the seeds of ruin took root. The whispers have begun, and they do not speak of peace. Trust broken, blades unsheathed, the Moonless Festival dawns, and with it, a kingdom's fall. Ring the bell, the reckoning comes. Please subscribe, like and share. Episode 3 awaits. Thanks for watching. Bye.